I think just staying like authentic. I feel like a lot of people, you see them on TV and I've met other reality stars too. And like you see them on TV and they're one way and then you meet them in person, they're different. And that's why they always say like never meet your celebrity crush because you will be crushed a lot of times. But I feel like we're very much like who you see on TV is really who we are. Yeah. So having the camera around or not having the camera around doesn't really matter because you're going to get what you get, when you're with us. It's the same. So
we speak from our heart. This is Girl Take Note, a podcast for women who are looking to turn their dreams into reality. Hey, Dawn and Cher. Welcome to the Girl Take Note podcast. How are you?
We're great.
We're looking forward. We're happy to be on.
Yes, we're excited to speak with you.
Yeah, I'm excited. Listen, you guys, I've watched you on I think it was either Smothered. That's what I think it was.
Yes.
And of course, a lot of times I'm like, we couldn't tell you guys apart because you look so much alike. Right? And kudos to you, Mom, because you have aged very well. You look absolutely amazing.
Oh, thank you. So
still
sweet.
Very youthful, from the day I saw you on TV. But I'm excited to have the conversation because you both kind of gained fame on Super Sweet 16 and later on Smothered. How did your initial, foray into reality TV begun, and what was the experience like for you guys?
Yeah, well, I was having a big Sweet 16 birthday party, and I was in the time where my Super Sweet 16 was, big on air, and I was like, I really want to, I'm having this big birthday party anyways. I always was very into like acting. I love being in front of the camera, but I did not like the way that Sweet 16ers were being portrayed. I felt like there was so spoiled and mean and so like unkind. And I was like, I'm having this big birthday party, but I'm not like those people. Maybe I could show it differently and show like it's okay to have nice things and also okay to be appreciative. So we applied. I had to give a tour of my house as if I was on Cribs. That was part of the casting process.
We had this big video camera, like the one you put on your shoulder going around at the time.
Yeah, we didn't have phones to like take this video. I had to literally send it through snail mail, like take the VHS out, send it in. It's crazy that this show is still like people talk about it. It's living forever now on Disney Plus, but that was 18 years ago. So, which is wild.
And people still recognize her from the show, and she had blonde hair then. You know, it's like unbelievable.
Yeah. But it was such a fun experience, and like it was really fun. And after that, I did the show Exiled, where they sent me to live with a tribe in Panama, and that was amazing. Oh my God. But then I went to college, and I I got married, and I thought my reality TV days were done until they found my mom and my mom is my best friend, and we saw this casting for mothers and daughters who were best friends. We did not know it was called Smothered back then. And I was like, oh my God, Mom, you're my best friend. And we should totally apply. It was called at the time the Mother-Daughter Best Friend Show. And we're like, duh. But then we found out it was called Smothered. And
after we were filming for a while, they changed the name.
They changed the name, and we're like, what did we sign up for?
And we said, are we that smothering?
I'm like, well, she is smothering, but we didn't think it was like a bad thing. And then now we read the comments, and maybe they think it's bad, but we're happy, and that's what matters.
That's what I say. As long as you are enjoying your relationship, then that's all that matters. What do you think that was about your mother-daughter dynamic that resonate like so strongly with people on TV?
I think just that I can come to my mom and talk to her about everything. I think something fun with us is like, she is my mom. She knows how to wear her mom hat, but she also knows how to be a best friend too. Like we can go shopping together. She's my favorite person to go shopping with. We love like sharing clothes and doing things together. And I think it shows that like your mom, it's okay. Like I respect her as a mom. I listen to her as a mom, but I also come to her as a best friend too.
And it's okay to have your mom as your best friend and go to your mom for things. We actually even wrote a book. So it's called A Bond That Lasts Forever. And basically it was just how we got so close and how others can too. And so, and we wrote that actually before being on the show.
Yes. So. Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that is so good. Yeah. I think it's so good when you're able to have a really great relationship with your mom. I feel like today, I don't think is kind of like depicted on TV really anymore, especially like in the reality sense.
Yeah.
Where young girls can have really good relationships because sometimes there's so much friction in those relationships.
It's sad.
It is sad. It really is. And I see it a lot. And I just I don't understand what it is about mothers and daughters where some relationships can be very close. And then some can be very strained.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, we had our ups and downs too. Don't get me wrong. Like high school was not easy on us. Like we had our tough times. Like, you know, she would be really strict at times. And I was like, you're supposed to be my friend. And she was really, really strict.
She's a girl, you know?
And I didn't agree with everything. But as I got older, we've become, now that I'm older, I think we've, you know, she's more of like my friend, also my mom. I respect as my mom, but I can come to her more easily now.
I think a lot to do with the communication too. Really hear what the other one is saying and listen to them and their feelings too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When it came to reality TV, because we know some of it is scripted, how much of Smother was like scripted versus how much was like just kind of like organic and natural?
I think that, you know, you only see what it really comes down to is like you only see a few minutes of our life. Each episode is, you know, what is it? An episode, an hour, right? An episode is an hour, but you only see us for like 15 minutes of that, maybe, if that. And they're filming for so much more. So I think you're only just seeing snippets of our life. So I think sometimes you could feel like it's a certain way. But really, it's just that you're only seeing half of it. Right. Only you knew the whole thing.
Yes,
you know, they really kind of package it together where we just kind of get excited and see those little clips.
Yes.
That's
exactly
really what they do. So I think that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
What do you think are some maybe the biggest misconceptions when it comes to people who are on reality TV? Because I think that's one of the things. I think we feel like we know you when we really don't know. You know,
right? Definitely. I think that's a good question. What would you say?
Misconceptions of
I think a lot of it comes down to just like they only know what you're seeing on TV, and that might be only the half of it. You might have seen the worst fight ever, but you might not have seen the makeup after. And so I think, you know, it's hard for them to show everything. They only have a certain amount of time to show it, but sometimes you wish that they can show more about who you are. For example, you know, my mom and I also have a podcast called Chattermouth Podcast. You can kind of see it in the background.
About that too.
But on the show, we never got to show it because they wanted to focus on like our family dynamics. And like the podcast is just so fun. It's like it's our time to like sit back, relax, and just talk
chat constantly.
But they didn't like for some reason want to show that. They wanted to show more of like some of the more of the drama highlights in our life, I guess. And so sometimes you wish that they could show like the things that are so important to you. Like this is so important to us. We love podcasting, but they didn't show that. So sometimes there's just more to the story is what I would say.
And I think being on reality TV, you have to have thicker skin because people don't sometimes talk negative about you and you can't really listen to those comments, and you just have to be true to yourself and know what you're about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that, you know, so funny now that I'm thinking about it, I think reality TV kind of prepared like people who were on reality for like social media.
Totally.
You know what I mean? In terms of like the comments, the negative comments that you can get and how to handle that. I think that's kind of what it prepared a lot of your people in reality TV for, being able to handle that type of comment and having that thick skin. Mm-hmm. But when you look at reality TV today, because you said something in terms of like, I wish they would show more of the scenes where we have the podcast, because they really now reality TV is really about the drama, right? It's about what people have going on. I want to see something, and something has got really kind of like volatile, you know?
Yes.
How do you think it has changed over the years? Like the landscape of reality TV has changed over the years.
That's a great question. You know, when I was filming my Super Sweet 16, like we didn't have social media at all. So it was before it. I think there was like chat rooms, and I remember seeing like weirdest things about me on a chat room, and be like an old man saying something so weird. And I was like, what is this? You know? But yeah, it's changed so much. I think just to like keep up with social media, our attention has gotten like so little, you know, we're constantly swiping to the next thing. And I think that, you know, it's same thing. It's kind of funny. It's like with actors, like I'm more likely to know someone on social media that I am like a famous actor nowadays, because our attention is so on social media.
Such different times.
She doesn't get it.
I don't get it.
But you know, I think with my Super Sweet 16, for example, we filmed 3 weeks straight, 3.5 weeks straight leading up to my birthday party. So literally from the moment I woke up until nighttime, we were filming 24/7. And then from that, you only got 27 minutes on TV, but we filmed 3.5 weeks straight. So there was so much like footage, and then they had to find the best of the best to put into 27 minutes. With Smothered, it's a little different because it's an ongoing season. It's not just one episode. So for us, they would come and then they would film for like for a weekend or a week. And then that's it. Then they'd go away. And then they'd come back for a week and they'd film and then they'd go away. And so you'd kind of get like parts of our life versus what we had in reality TV.
But looking back at some of the memories, like she had told me on national TV that she was pregnant. I mean, that's like unbelievable. I'll never forget that. We cry every time we rewatch it, you know?
One day I get to show my daughter that she was like, I always tell her, you were born on TV. Like, one day I'm going to get to show you.
Do you aspire to have the kind of relationship with your daughter that you have with your mom?
I love how you're shaking your head.
Yes, she's like, yes, definitely. I see the exact me with Cher as Cher is with Belle. It's exactly the same. And you know, like I always spoke to Cher, even when she was like a little girl, about everything. I mean, everything. And we talked about everything. And now she does the same thing, Cher, with Belle. It's unbelievable.
She's my little bestie. I love her so much. And she's such a cutie. So definitely. I mean, I love the relationship I have with my mom. I'm so comfortable to come to her and talk with her. And I hope my daughter feels that way with me, where she can come to me and talk to me about anything.
And actually, Belle talks to me about a lot of things too, which I love.
That's so cute. Dawn, let me ask you, when you decided to sign on for reality TV, were you afraid that this probably could affect your relationship in a different way versus making it, you know, a great, strong bond? Did you have any fear that, God, this could actually maybe tear us apart too?
Never. I never thought that. We're just really very, very close. And that never even crossed my mind that we would not be talking or have a strained relationship after that. Never.
You know what? That's why I feel like social media has so much to do with reality TV now, because relationships can really be torn apart by reality TV today. Which is, like I said, the landscape has changed so much. It used to be so fun and just so entertaining, and now it's like so drama filled, because I lived for Super Sweet 16. I wasn't even 16 during that time, but when it came on, I was just like, I couldn't stop watching it because it was just an amazing show to see their big bashes, their birthdays, and you know what they gifts and all that stuff they get. But today it's like, it's so different now. It's not it's just not even the same. And it's so much. I think back then too, we didn't have that many reality shows.
Yeah, right. That's true. That's true.
This was like my Super Sweet 16 was like the beginning. Yeah. My Super Sweet 16 was the beginning.
You're like pioneers on
that. I wouldn't go that far, but thank you.
you know the reality TV game better than anybody else do.
Yeah.
And so when you decide to say, okay, we're not going to do reality TV anymore, is that when, was the podcast always there? Then that when it kind of launched the podcast? I know you wrote, like you said, the book and stuff like that. Like, when did it end reality TV end for you guys and say, let's move over to, let's do something else. Let's leverage it to do something else.
Well, I guess
doing the podcast
we were doing the podcast during the last season. But right now we've been really just focusing on our podcast. We do a lot of social media we have fun with, and just, you know, living life. I feel like there's, I recently moved to Florida now. And so during the filming, I was in New York and my mom was in Florida, and we'd always film when we were together. But now I'm in Florida. Which
and
is
she's
really
only
nice.
15 minutes from me, which is wonderful. So I get to see her all the time.
Yeah. And it's very different because I was in New York, like, living the city girl life, and now I like have a farm, so things are so different.
I can't believe she's my child sometimes because she has all these animals at her house. She has rabbits and chickens and turkeys and pigs. And I'm saying, are you mine?
Today I had her hold a turkey for the first time, and she's like, what do I do? She was like freaking out. She's like, I was not raised
so cute that you have a farm.
Yeah, I love it.
Was that something you always wanted, or it was just something like you just kind of decided to do?
I always wanted it. I always loved animals. always. For growing up, actually, we did have 2 goats.
Yes,
they were like my pets because I really wanted them. They're like, fine. So they got me 2 goats and a couple chickens.
Yes.
But my dream was always to one day have a farm, but I had to wait for my husband to finish. He was in residency, medical school, then residency, and so fellowship. And then finally, we're like, when we decided we were going to live, that's when the farm shall begin. And so it has.
That is so good.
Yeah.
How do you guys find balance? You know, you're a mom, you guys have the podcast, you have the book, you have your other business ventures, your wives. How do you balance it all? Because I know it's a lot, because I know it's hard for me to balance it all too.
Yeah.
So I know it's a lot. How do you find balance at times?
Balance, what's that?
Yeah. She doesn't stop. You know, that's one thing about Cher. She has so much energy. I get tired sometimes listening to her.
Oh, thank you. No, it's honestly hard because I have so many things like that go on in my head. I feel like it's like I'm very much of a doer. Like I'm always wanting to do. But it's tough, especially like when my daughter is around and she's not in school. My whole attention is so on her that all my other things I want to do kind of fall to the side because she's like my number one priority. And then the second she's in school, I'm like, Mom, come over. We got to film this. We got to do this. We got an interview. And we just go. But I think the main thing is if you love what you're doing, then you're never really working. And I love what I'm doing every day. I love this stuff. I love working on my farm. I love podcasting. I love doing social media with my mom. It's so fun. And so if I'm enjoying it, I'm going to want to do more of it. And I think that's what it comes down to.
What made you guys decide to do the podcast?
Yeah. It's our special time that we sit back and we talk about all different issues. And it's interesting. We also wanted to show other people that, a girl my age in her 60s and different points of views on things. And it's not scripted. It's totally from our feelings and gut and what we actually believe, and we just talk about all different topics.
Yeah, a lot of people would DM us questions like about how to do your makeup or like how are you guys so close, and we're like, we need an outlet, somewhere to like let people know about our lives and like let people in and teach others like how do you have a close relationship with your mom, or like how do you learn to like certain things from a 60-year-old's point of view and a 30-year-old's point of view, and like really give it to them raw. Something I really love about podcasting is like, it's long form. You could sit back and talk and like our special time to really get down, and we hold nothing back. Right. We're just
we get down to the nitty gritty.
And we're just be able to just really be ourselves without the edit. And so people can really get to know us like behind the scenes and really get to know us for who we are. So I love podcasting.
Yeah. I do too. I think it's just an amazing form of, just like you said, just being expressive, being able to have your voice heard. And as a woman myself, I'm approaching 50. I'll be 50 next year.
Well, you look great.
So you look great.
Yes. I completely understand where it's like women of a certain age and the different things that we experience. Like I have a lot of women come on the show and we talk about going through perimenopause, menopause, and things that are like every young woman, we're going to go through that.
Yes.
We were it's so funny you said that. I literally, before I got on here, we just filmed a social media video about menopause.
That's unbelievable.
Like right before we came on here, I'm not even kidding. We're wearing the same outfits. We talked about menopause because that's actually something that's not publicly really spoken about. Like everyone is prepared for getting their period, and puberty, but no one really prepares you for menopause. So that's so funny that you said that because we're just talking about that.
I said one day she's going to go through it.
So she was like, this is what you're going to expect.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I'm in the perimenopause stage of it. And I'm like, I'm feeling these different things and emotional. And I'm like, is it the perimenopause that is happening to me right now?
Yeah, probably. You're up and you're down. Yeah.
But we all go through it.
We all go through it. And that's what I tell people. It's something that you just cannot deny. It's just something we're all just going to go through. And I think today we have better ways of dealing with it versus I think when my mom went through it. Like I feel like the older generation really suffered. But today I feel like we have so many different things, hormone therapy. There's so many different things that you can do to kind of help you get through menopause now. So it's good to know that you guys are talking about that.
Yes.
I think you guys have been able to take it's so funny because a lot of people who's on reality TV during that time doesn't necessarily have the kind of platform that you guys have. So why do you think that you guys was able to kind of move from one era gracefully into another one and still be so relevant today? What do you think you guys have? You guys have something special that I'm looking at. I'm trying to identify what it is so I can make sure it rub off on me so I can have this kind of longevity.
You're so sweet. I think just staying like authentic. I feel like a lot of people, you see them on TV and I've met other reality stars too. And like you see them on TV and they're one way and then you meet them in person, they're different. And that's why they always say like never meet your celebrity crush because you will be crushed a lot of times. But I feel like we're very much like who you see on TV is really who we are. So having the camera around or not having the camera around doesn't really matter because you're going to get what you get, when you're with us. It's the same. So
we speak from our heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's what's important. Like I said, why you guys been able to transition so well because a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about that.
And a lot of people try to like put on a show. Like they try to put, but you can feel it's not authentic. Like they try to put on, like they're like, we need drama. So like, let's do this fake thing, or we need some of this. Let's like turn this on. And, you can feel something's not right there. And then you kind of turn off and like, people have tried even while filming in my Super Sweet 16. I remember here's an example. While I was filming the show of my Super Sweet 16, you know how in the show, a lot of times somebody will come and crash the party on the show. So supposedly one of the producers had reached out to someone in like the band and was like, hey, do you guys want to crash Cher's party? We're going to film it. And so I was like friends with everyone in high school. And so they calls me, this person called me like, hey, someone gave me your phone number. So one of the producers called me and they asked if it was okay if I came and crashed your party. And before I do it, I just want to make sure like you're aware and like you're okay with that. And I was like, no, I'm not okay with that. Because then they're going to make me out to be this really mean person that's like kicking you out of my party. Like, if you really want to come to my party, like you can come.
You're invited.
You're all invited. So I was like, I got really upset at the producers. And I'm like, please, like, don't try to make me out to be somebody I'm not, because this isn't me. If you want to film my party, then film me and let people get to see me. I'm sure there's enough drama in making a birthday party like this that you don't need to add fake stuff and try to get me in a fight with someone that they can come if they want to,
Yeah.
So I'm so thankful that they called me and told me ahead of time. But it just goes into like being authentic. And actually at that moment, I quit filming. I was like, listen, I don't want to film this anymore. I know what this show is about, and you guys are going to make me out to be this terrible person. Like, I don't want that. Like, this might follow me for years to come. Like, I don't want that. So I actually stopped filming. And like the executives actually sent me videos. You remember this? They sent me VHS tapes back then of some Sweet 16ers that actually were like nicer on the show to like get me okay, like realize like it's okay. You're not going to be made out to be this terrible person. We know you're not.
They couldn't make her out to be a terrible person because
they tried. They tried, but they didn't, luckily.
Yeah, just to bring the drama.
Yeah, just to bring the drama.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that just goes to show that you just have to really like just be true. Don't fall into the trap.
Yourself.
Yeah. And people do fall into the trap. You want more viewers, you want more followers, and you're going to do whatever you can. But we won't do that, No. So.
You come from an era that was authentic anyway.
Right.
Like I said, now that social media has been introduced, everybody really put on and only give you a certain snapshot of who they are where you don't really get the full person.
Yeah.
So you guys have already had that authenticity before you even came into this whole social media game, which is so awesome too.
Thank you.
What do you guys are excited about next? Like, what do you guys have next coming? What you got in the works? Is there more TV stuff maybe? What do you expect?
Yeah, well, right now we are loving doing our podcast, which has been so much fun. Like I said, Chattermouth podcast. And there are some other things going on. We can't talk about it just yet. So I would say just stay tuned, keep following along, and you'll know more soon.
Let me ask you, Cher, would you want to see your daughter in reality TV?
That's a great question.
Wants, I think.
I think it really comes down to what she wants, and whatever she wants, I want to make happen for her. So I'm gonna leave it up to her. But she's in my social media a lot. She loves doing TikTok. She's always like, "Let's film a TikTok." She's such a good little actress. She's like the cutest thing. She'll be like, she'll help me with all my collaborations and everything. She's so cute. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'm very much into. I don't want to push her to be anything, I want her to decide for herself. So I want to show her everything that's possible, but then in the end, it's her decision, and I'll support her 100%. Because I remember when I was going to film my Super Sweet 16, for example, my dad was like, no way, Cher, you are not allowed to do this. And my mom, actually, we filmed it together behind his back, actually. We're like, we're just going to see what happens when we submit the tape.
Was he so surprised when he saw it?
Yeah, but then I mean, then when he found out we were going to be on it, he had to eventually like come around.
I had to talk it into him at the time, you know. And I said, "Don't worry, she's not going to be made out spoiled because that's not her."
Yeah,
exactly.
And it all worked out. And then he supported me, and he knew it made me happy. And so yeah, I think that life is about like taking chances and following your heart. And if you don't follow your heart, you're going to always have that regret or wonder what if. So I want my daughter to do the same, you know, follow your heart and see. And if it doesn't work out, then it wasn't meant to be, but at least you tried.
Yeah, exactly. What advice would you guys give to maybe someone, maybe another mother, daughter, or just anyone who maybe want to get into the reality side of TV? What advice would you give them?
I'd say, first of all, look for castings. There's castings all over the place. So you can definitely like see if you fit one. But be ready for a lot of negativity to come your way too. Because with this, when you are putting yourself out there, it's going to follow you. So being on my Super Sweet 16, I mean, like I said, 18 years later, people still are like, you're the girl from my Super Sweet 16, aren't you? Like, it still follows you. It does. So just be ready for that.
And be okay with it. You know, be okay with the negativity.
Yeah, because you never know what you're going to be portrayed as or who you are. So I think as long as you're being true to yourself, though, that's all that truly matters. Because if you are putting yourself out there and a producer tells you, go do this, and you listen, and then you hate how you look, then that's going to follow you, and you have to deal with that. But if you are true to yourself and you do something that's maybe negative and it follows you, hey, at least you can own it because that was all you. And I think that's what we always try to do, just truly be yourself, because then if it follows you, it follows you. I mean, at least that's you.
Right.
Yeah, it does follow you. That's that digital footprint that just doesn't go away. It stays there forever.
So true.
Really do. Well, guys, listen, I'm glad you was able to make it on the show.
Me too.
This was so much fun.
This was. We really enjoyed speaking with you. And thank you for, asking all these like tough questions. I feel like sometimes people are kind of scared to ask some of the harder questions, like, but you didn't.
You did great.
You didn't like Peter on the bush. So thank you.
Listen, I love it. Like I said, I loved you guys on Smothered. So that was one of my favorite shows. In Super 16 was my favorite show too. So it's really good to talk to someone back in that time. Understands, and you can see the evolution of certain things.
Totally.
And I'm just so happy that you guys been able to kind of leverage your fame from then into something really special with the podcast. And what's the name of the book? Let's make sure everyone know about the book too.
Oh, thank you.
They know to get that if they need to.
It's called A Bond That Lasts Forever.
Yeah.
And our podcast is Chattermouth Podcast. And you can follow it on Chattermouth Podcast on Instagram or on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcasts.
All right, guys, good. Cool. I'll make sure I have everything linked down below in the show notes. So once again, ladies, thank you so much for coming on. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you for having us. We love speaking with you.
Yes. All right, guys, I am Shaunie Sanders. This is the Girl Take No Podcast, and I will talk to you next time.
Bye.